Thank you. Matter of fact, while people are taking your seats, let's give the music makers a hand over there for that. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the 2023 Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame Induction Banquet. Would you note, and you've probably seen it on your programs, our logo, Spirit of a Warrior, Heart of a Patriot. I couldn't think of a better, from the very start, a friend of mine made this artwork and motto. I can't think of a more perfect motto, an emblem for our organization than what my friend did. So please note that. I am Major General Retired Doug Dollar, President Emeritus of the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation. And it's my pleasure to welcome you tonight for these festivities. Very pleased to see all the bright and smiling faces out here in the audience. The current Heritage Foundation President, Colonel Jerry Shiles, could not be present tonight due to knee surgery, but he's watching through the live streaming video that we are offering this year for those who cannot travel or otherwise be able to attend. For the past 24 years, the Heritage Foundation has sponsored and hosted the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame's annual induction ceremony and banquet, honoring individual military personnel or organizations. Recognition is based on exceptional military service and public service. At your table setting, there is a donor form, and inside your banquet program, information on our tax-deductible donations to our foundation. The Military Heritage Foundation is a 501c3 organization with an all-volunteer board of directors and volunteer ambassadors dedicated to finding and recognizing Oklahoma's military heroes. The Heritage Foundation team spends the entire year organizing, researching, looking for relatives of veterans, sending out newsletters, seeking out Medal of Honor recipients, conducting a selection review of candidates, and raising funds to support our annual induction ceremony and other activities. We thank you for considering a donation to the foundation. For any donations after our program this evening, a secured box will be located at the back of this room near the doors. Do take the program home with you, as it contains brief but important information about our programs. I also encourage you to review our 2 websites for more extensive information about the Heritage Foundation and our activities, nominating individuals, membership, and our donors. At this time, please rise. Lieutenant Colonel David Wilson, U.S. Air Force, will now present the invocation.
Please bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, our living God, we come before you today and know that you are here as we gather in your presence. We thank you for all that you have done for us, for watching over our men and women in service throughout the many years of conflict that we've suffered as we continue to try to bring freedom to not only our country, but around the world. We thank you for the efforts, the sacrifices of those that we are honoring tonight and how you've watched over them, and hopefully you're watching over those that couldn't make with us tonight. Please be with us throughout this evening and as we go home. These things in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you please remain standing for the posting of the colors by the Cherokee Nation Color Guard and Comanche Nation Color Guard. The Comanche Sovo singers will be drumming this evening with their chorus. Coordinating the procession is Quartermaster First Class Kevin Bohocapachio, U.S. Navy. The drummers will start with the Veterans Song, then the Flag Song, and lastly, the Code Talker song, as they will exit with the colors. The national anthem will be sung by Chief Warrant Officer 4 Chase Rutledge, U.S. Army pilot for U.S. Army and a pilot for KOCO News Channel 5. Also, Arlene Sconchen, Comanche Indian Veterans Association Princess, and Mackenzie Silvo, Comanche Nation Princess, will sign the national anthem. All veterans are welcome to salute or provide the customary hand over your heart gesture as we show respect for our flag. Post the colors.
Bring them up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Comanche flag song. Present. Ho! appropriate song, drum. Exit out the colors.
You may be seated. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you this evening. I want to take a few moments to recognize some special guests in attendance tonight. Please hold your applause until all guests have been recognized, at which time you may honor them with a well-deserved ovation. This evening we are honored to have several dignitaries in attendance. As I call your name, would you please stand? Major General Tommy Messino, the Adjutant General for Oklahoma. Major General Miles Deering, former Adjutant General for Oklahoma. Rear Admiral Greg Slavonic, Oklahoma Veterans Affairs Executive Director. Mr. Joe Crittenden, Cherokee Nation, Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Lance Corporal Jennifer Thiessen, U.S. Marine Corps, representing the Cherokee Nation. Petty Officer First Class Kevin Pohantapachaco, U.S. Navy, representing the Comanche Nation. Mr. John MacArthur, President of Cameron University, Lawton. And also, my pleasure to introduce Dwight Birdwell, Medal of Honor recipient, inducted into the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame in 2017. Let's give them all a big hand. At this time, would all flag officers please stand? Will all prior Hall of Fame inductees please stand? And now the reason we are here tonight, will all of our 2023 honorees, our acceptors for the deceased honorees, please stand? Let's give them a big hand. Please be seated. Thank you. At this time, we are pleased to conduct the POW MIA Remembrance Ceremony. Allow me to bring your attention to the table to your front.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we are honored to conduct the POW MIA Remembrance Ceremony. Allow me to bring your attention to the table to my left on the front row. This table is a place of honor. It is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our profession, of our arms, are missing from our midst. They're commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers. They're unable to be with us this evening, and so we honor and remember them. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to response to their country's call to arms. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep the faith awaiting their return. The red ribbon tied so prominently on the vase is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn upon the lapel and breast of thousands who bear witness to their unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting of our missing. The candle is being lit by Captain Rutledge's daughters, Sonda Rutledge Hamlin and Peggy Rutledge Roth. Captain Rutledge, who will be honored later in the ceremony, was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. He spent 2,643 days in captivity. The candle symbolizes the upward reach of their unconquerable spirit. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate. There's salt upon the bread plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. The chairs are empty. They're not here. All of you who served with them and called them comrades, who depended upon their might and aid and relied upon them, for surely they have not forsaken you. Remember, until the day they come home, remember. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please join me in a silent toast as we raise our water glasses to honor the American POWs and MIAs and to success in accounting for each and every one of them. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the evening, you may notice a photographer, Tracy Reese, taking pictures to capture your memories for this momentous occasion. Feel free to contact him for special group photos after we conclude the banquet. Many of these photos will become part of the 2023 memory book, which will be available for purchase. Ordering information and sign-up sheet for this memory book is located at the registration counter. We're videotaping the banquet tonight, and DVDs will be available for purchase. The DVD will include special memories of tonight's honorees as well as interviews with them that were taped earlier today. If you are interested in purchasing a DVD, you may sign up at the registration counter. The DVDs will be ready for mailing in approximately 3 months. As you entered, you may have seen a table with Military Heritage Foundation hats, t-shirts, and challenge coins. Those of you interested in purchasing these items may do that at that table. Before dinner is served, please enjoy a medley of our military service songs. Feel free, this is a fun part, I guarantee you. Feel free to stand and sing along when your service song is played. Once the Armed Forces medley is finished, I encourage you to please sit back, relax, and enjoy the camaraderie of those around you. Dinner will be served immediately afterward, during which the 145th Army Band Jazz Combo will perform for your listening pleasure. The combo is led by NCOIC Staff Sergeant Colin Farrell, Commander, 145th Army Band, Chief Warrant Officer 2, Brandon McMillan also. Please get ready for your service song, and don't let this get out of control. Sometimes this really gets out of hand. You notice the people waving the napkins. They're okay. They're going to be okay. And as you begin your deal, I want to ask members of the Military Hall of Fame Board and our other ambassadors to gather here at the stage for a commemorative photo while dinner is being served. Thank you.
Self. And I am Colonel Kelly Zacco, U.S. Army retired, and I'm the Vice President of the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation. So I know a lot of you are finishing up, and food came late for some of you, but that's okay. One of the things that we would like to go through is allowing us to recognize those who have served our country in its many engagements abroad. So we'll quickly go through some of the countries and just kind of stand and then go ahead and sit down. So with those who have served in Afghanistan, stand. Any Afghanistan? All right. How about Iraq? We got some from Iraq. Bosnia. How about Panama? Desert Storm. Grenada. Now, this should get the majority. The Vietnam conflict. Vietnam.
Wasn't it?
All right, thank you. How about Korea, the Korean conflict? Good. We're going to see, are there any World War II veterans here tonight? Okay. Well, we had to make sure. I know time is moving, but anyway, we thank them. There are still some around, and they are, again, our greatest generation. All of you are heroes, and we thank each one of you for your service. And now let us go ahead and continue with our induction ceremony. So I'm going to, you guys, we've got our two announcers, and they're going to introduce themselves.
Good evening. My name is Captain Jimmy Andrews.
And I am Major Mike Gonzalez. We will now conduct the induction ceremony. Tonight, we are honored to induct 12 deserving veterans into the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame. These inductees all have an established Oklahoma connection and have served with honor and distinction in the military. Besides those killed in action, they continue their service in civil and private sectors and in our communities. Each will receive a medallion with our logo, Spirit of a Warrior, Heart of a Patriot, with their name and year inscribed on the reverse. The design and logo was originally designed by Mac Crank in 1999 and worked with us over the years to sketch as a sketch artist as well. He passed away earlier this year. Our condolences to Mac's family and friends. Our inductees will also receive a framed citation with a simulated eagle feather signed by Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, Secretary of Oklahoma and Military and Veterans Affairs John Nash, and Colonel Jerry Shiles, President of the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation. They will also receive a framed sketch of their likeness by sketch artist Renee Lawrence of Oklahoma City. Our first inductee is Staff Sergeant Larry Stanley Price, U.S. Army deceased, Medal of Honor recipient. Staff Sergeant Price was nominated by our Board of Accepting the award is his daughter, Teresa Hitchcock, and brother, Sergeant First Class Coy Price. The ambassador in charge, I beg your pardon, Pierce. The ambassador in charge is Captain Michael Beckett, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Larry Pierce was born 6 July 1941 in Wewoka, Oklahoma. His family moved to California when he was young. He was raised there in the city of Taft and attended Taft Union High School. Pierce joined the Army from Fresno, California in 1961. By 20 September 1965, he was serving as a sergeant in headquarters Company 1st Battalion Airborne 503rd Infantry Regiment, 173rd Airborne Brigade. On that day, near Ben Cat, in the Central Highlands of South Vietnam, north of Saigon, Sergeant Pierce was serving as squad leader in a reconnaissance platoon when his patrol was ambushed by a hostile force. Through his inspiring leadership and personal courage, the squad succeeded in eliminating an enemy machine gun and routing the opposing force. While pursuing the fleeing enemy, the squad came upon a dirt road, and as the main body of his men entered the road, Sergeant Pierce discovered an anti-personnel mine emplaced in the roadbed. Realizing that the mine could destroy the majority of his squad, Sergeant Pierce saved the lives of his men at the sacrifice of his own by throwing himself directly onto the mine as it exploded. Greater love has no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. John 15:13. For his actions, Pierce was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, the Purple Heart, and on 24 February 1966, promoted to Staff Sergeant. The medal was formally presented to his family by President Lyndon Johnson during a ceremony at the White House on 6 February 2008. The post office in Taft was renamed the Larry S. Pierce Post Office in his honor. A portion of California State Route 46, which runs through Wasco, was designated the Staff Sergeant Larry S. Pierce Memorial Highway in 2009. Pierce was buried in Wasco Memorial Park in Wasco, California. Ladies and gentlemen, Staff Sergeant Pierce's daughter, Teresa Hitchcock.
Good evening, everybody. This is always difficult, but I know that my father would be truly honored by this ceremony. He would be humbled to be included in this truly extraordinary group of folks who are being honored tonight. And I'd like to thank everyone in this room who served in our military. It's truly one of the greatest callings in our country, and thank you for your service and everything that you've done in order to procure our freedoms. I'd also like to talk about some other extraordinary people who are in this room. Robert McCarty served with my dad. He was there on the day that my dad was killed. He's here tonight with us. And then also my Uncle Coy, whose 85th birthday is today. We drove out to my father's birthplace of Wewoka this morning, and we also went to my uncle's birthplace of Cromwell, Oklahoma this morning to celebrate his 85th birthday. And I think it's truly been a special and extraordinary experience here. I've been to a lot of things, but there's something special about your home state honoring your sacrifices. So thank you all for this truly wonderful honor for my father. And I know, again, that he would be completely humbled by this experience. So thank you so much.
Our next inductee is Lieutenant Junior Grade Douglas Ishmael Baker, United States Navy, deceased. Lieutenant Baker's nominator was Mr. Bruce Walk, and accepting the award is his nephew, Mr. T.K. Baker. Ambassador in charge is Captain Irish Kilty, United States Navy. Douglas Ishmael Baker was born in McLean County, Oklahoma on the 27th of August, 1921, growing up on a farm near Payne, Oklahoma. He graduated from Lindsay High School in 1938, continued working on the farm, attended the University of Oklahoma in 1941, and then enlisted in the United States Naval Reserve on the 30th of June, 1942. Baker was selected for flight training as an aviation cadet, and on the 2nd of August, 1943, he was commissioned as an ensign, naval aviator, United States Naval Reserve. In November of 1943, he was assigned to the Jokers, the Fighting Squadron 20, flying the Grumman F-6 Foxtrot Hellcat. Assigned to the USS Enterprise, his squadron's first combat actions started on the 31st of August, 1944. Targeting the Bonin Islands, Peleliu, Okinawa, Formosa, Luzon, Leyte, and enemy shipping. Baker flew missions against the Japanese task forces in the Battle of Leyte Gulf, and in a letter to Baker's mom, his commander wrote, Baker's fellow pilots called him the Oklahoma Kid because of his aggressiveness and his extremely sharp eyesight. On 12 October 1944, Baker shot down 4 enemy aircraft, earning him his first Silver Star. 3 days later, he shot down an additional 2 enemy aircraft, which made him an ace. Between 18 October and 14 November 1944, he was credited with downing another 6 enemy aircraft. And on his last mission, which was on the 14th of December 1944, and that was over Clark Field in Luzon, Lieutenant Baker downed another 4 enemy aircraft, bringing his total to 16. But his Hellcat aircraft was shot down and he disappeared. Lieutenant Junior Grade Baker earned 2 Silver Stars, 4 Distinguished Flying Crosses, the Presidential Unit Citation, a Navy Unit Citation, and the Purple Heart. Credited with 16 downed enemy aircraft, Baker's record as a fighter pilot ranks him 7th among all Navy aviators and 62nd among all American fighter pilots. He was inducted into the Oklahoma Aviation Space Hall of Fame in 1994. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Junior Grade Baker's nephew, Mr. T.K. Baker.
there are 3 tables full of people. Representing my uncle, which none of us knew. But I thank them for being here, and I thank Cousin Bruce Walk for helping getting him inducted. All his siblings are gone. I'm sort of the family historian. I've got all his records, his logbook. I can remember going to Grandma and Grandpa's house and just standing there for hours and looking at the medals that he had in a frame. 2 quick stories on my uncle that aren't listed in the bulletin there. When he was on the Enterprise, of course, during the war, they censored all their mail home. And they transferred off the Enterprise and went to the Lexington. And he couldn't tell them what ship he was on. But he was pretty clever. He wrote in that letter, "Oh, by the way, you'll find me across the bridge from Purcell." And one story of a fight that he was in, they were over the Philippines going to do some ground attack work at Luzon, somewhere on the islands. So they were loaded down with air-to-ground rockets. And of course, in World War II, they weren't guided or anything, it was just point and pray. And they came upon a flock of Betty bombers, Japanese bombers, heading out to attack their ship. And in the documents that I read, they didn't want to attack that flock of bombers. There were very few fighters in his group, because there were a lot of those bombers. They didn't want to attack the whole group. They wanted to kind of pick them off singularly. So my uncle fired some of those rockets into that covey of bombers and had them scatter. And then they started picking them off. So we thank the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation for awarding this to him, and appreciate everyone being here. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Captain Edwin Chaffabiddy, Jr., MD, U.S. Public Health Service, deceased. Accepting the award is Captain Chaffabiddy's widow, Mrs. Susan Dobbs Chaffabiddy. Ambassador in charge is Captain Chuck Choney, U.S. Army. Nominator was Major General Douglas Dollar, United States Army. Edwin Chaffabiddy Jr. was a citizen of the Comanche Nation, was born on 4 January 1945 at the Lawton Indian Hospital, Lawton, Oklahoma. In 1963, graduate of Lawton High School, he was an athlete interested in math and science. Declining a Harvard College scholarship, he attended Cameron Junior College, 1964 to 1965. Was a member of the Keithley Rifles and the Army ROTC battalion staff. He is a 1967 graduate of Oklahoma State University with a bachelor's degree in zoology. An Army ROTC Distinguished Military Graduate, he accepted a regular Army commission as a Field Artillery Second Lieutenant. Chaffabiddy entered active duty with the 101st Airborne Division in 1967. Graduated from the Airborne School and completed Field Artillery Basic in 1968. In May of 1969, he arrived in Vietnam, assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 13th Field Artillery, 25th Infantry Division. He distinguished himself in 1969 by heroic actions on 11 October and 23 November, and again on 21 February 1970. He was awarded 2 Bronze Stars and an Army Commendation Medal, each with the V for Valor device. In 1972, he left the Army, attended Dartmouth College, graduating in 1980 from Colorado School of Medicine. In 1983, he was sworn into Commissioned Corps of the United States Public Health Service and assigned to the hospital where he was born, Lawton Indian Hospital. Dr. Chaffabiddy was a family practitioner, physician at the Anadarko Indian Health Clinic in Lawton for 25 years. Retiring in 2008, he went on to pursue a career at as the first medical director of the Comanche Nation in Lawton. In 2002, he was honored as an OSU Alumni Association Distinguished Alumnus, and in 2015 was inducted into the OSU College of Arts and Science Hall of Fame. In 2011, he established the Edwin Chaffabiddy Jr. MD Scholarship in Zoology to encourage and assist American Indian College students studying the sciences. He passed on 15 June 2001 and rests in the Post Oak Cemetery, Indianola, Comanche County, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Susan Dobbs Chaffabiddy.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank every one of you. This is a very great honor, and Ed would be so pleased to be here. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Admiral Joseph James Jocko Clark, United States Navy, deceased. Admiral Clark's nominators were Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation, Chuck Hoskin Jr., Secretary of Veterans Affairs of the Cherokee Nation, Joe Crittenden, and the United States Naval Academy Alumni Association Tulsa Chapter, Mr. Rocky Goins. His ambassador in charge is Army Lieutenant Jim Locke, accepting for the family his grandson, Mr. Josiah Slotnick. Joseph James Jocko Clark was born 12 November 1893 near Chelsea, Indian Territory, to Cherokee parents. He attended 2 colleges in Oklahoma before receiving an appointment to the United States Naval Academy, graduating in 1918. He was the first Native American to graduate from Annapolis. After years at sea, Clark requested a transfer to the fledgling naval aviation community and graduated from Naval Flight School in 1925. Soon becoming an expert, he was an innovator of aircraft carrier tactics that had a dramatic influence upon America's naval strategy during World War II. In 1932, Clark served as the only naval aviator member of the Department of Navy's Board of Inspection and Survey. This allowed him the opportunity to develop and refine many of the aircraft and aviation-related shipboard systems that would later significantly impact the future of naval air power. Clark's strong leadership and aggressive combat reputation earned him the nickname the Patton of the Pacific during the Pacific War with Japan. Clark was assigned as the commanding officer on the 2nd USS Yorktown. He directed his ship in battle and successfully provided air support to the United States amphibious landings in the Japanese-occupied Marshall Islands. These actions were recorded by an onboard film crew and depicted in the 20th Century Fox film, The Fighting Lady. During the Korean War, Admiral Clark commanded the Pacific-based 7th Fleet, and that consisted of 225 warships and 70,000 fighting men and women from 21 United Nations countries. He was awarded the Navy Cross, the Legion of Merit with Combat V device, and was also awarded the Silver Star while commanding the USS Yorktown during the Marshall Islands campaign. Admiral Clark is a member of the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. He has been honored at the Oklahoma State Capitol, and he is the namesake for a guided missile frigate, the USS Clark. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Clark's grandson, Mr. Josiah Slotnick.
So thank you so much. We really appreciate the honor from the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation. We appreciate the co-nominators, Rocky Goins and the Cherokee Nation, and appreciate Joe Crittenden being here. It's a great honor for me to be here for my mom, Mary Louise Clark, Admiral Clark's daughter, and her sister Kathy. They loved and worshiped their dad, and we heard their stories growing up, his life and his service. And we want to congratulate all the honorees and acceptors and their families. It's a privilege of a lifetime to be here with you all today and participate in this induction ceremony. And as others have, I want to thank everyone here for their service. The stories we heard about Jocko were about how much he loved the men that served with him and for him. And I think that he would be really honored and proud to join the group that's here today. So we just want to say thank you and congratulations to everybody.
Our next inductee is Colonel William James Coltrop, United States Army, nominated by Vice Admiral Sean Pybus, United States Navy. Ambassador in charge is Staff Sergeant Douglas Warden, U.S. Army. Colonel William Coltrop was born in Trinidad on 21 December 1962 and raised overseas while his father worked in the oil and gas industry. He graduated from Texas A&M in 1985 and was commissioned an armor second lieutenant with the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment. In 1989, he became a Special Forces officer and was in the and was the Distinguished Honor Graduate of the Special Forces Qualification Course. In 1993, Captain Caltrip and his unit deployed to Mogadishu, Somalia, as Task Force Ranger in response to a critical situation on the ground that threatened the stability of United Nations relief mission. On 3 October 1993, Task Force Ranger conducted an assault. As the task force was preparing for exfiltration, one of the MH-60 Black Hawk helicopters was shot down. Caltrip and his team fast-roped into the site under heavy enemy fire. When a second Black Hawk was shot down, Caltrip's unit spent the night repelling attacks, attempting to overrun the crash site. The events were immortalized in the book and the movie Black Hawk Down. For his action, he was awarded the Silver Star, the Purple Heart, and the Combat Infantryman's Badge. During his 30-year career, 24 years were in the special operations, of which 10 years were combat tours. Caltrip participated in numerous combat operations in Somalia, Bosnia, Iraq, Afghanistan, the Philippines, and other sensitive locations worldwide. From 2001 to 2005, Lieutenant Colonel Caltrip deployed 5 different times to war zones. For his actions during these missions, Caltrip's award also include 2 Bronze Stars and the Defense Superior Service Award. Colonel Caltrip is a respected speaker for several charities and was key in raising $250,000 for one military support charity. He remains active in supporting Oklahomans through the Oklahoma chapter of the Special Forces Association, Military Order of the World Wars, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars. He resides in Edmond, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Caltrip.
Thanks, everyone. Number one, I'll start off by saying I'm humbled and honored by this great award, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank my amazing wife, Sherry, and my daughter, Allie, for all the sacrifice and support that they've given over the years. And then I also want to thank all the friends from the Special Forces Association 3250 for joining us tonight. And then the fine NCOs that I work with, Command Sergeant Major Rick Merritt, Command Sergeant Major Kurt Donaldson, Sergeant Major Robert Hawkins, and Master Sergeant Johnny Walker. Yes, that really is his name. They keep me straight and definitely out of trouble, so I really appreciate that. Obviously, we can't talk a lot about what we do in special operations, so, it's kind of a little bit of a dark area that you really don't get to know much about. But I will tell you this, I've worked with some amazing officers and NCOs that have done some amazing acts of bravery and heroism that would just make you shake in your boots if you ever saw it. And it's only because of those guys, those NCOs and those officers, that I was able to be successful. So I really appreciate that. And this award tonight is in memory of those guys that I was able to return with, and unfortunately those that weren't. So I really want to say thanks to them as well. And to that end, may God bless you all for coming tonight, and God bless the United States of America.
Our next inductee is Specialist 4, Terry Lee Corange, United States Army. Nominator and Ambassador in Charge is Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Reagan, United States Air Force. Specialist 4, Terry Lee Corange, was born 17 February 1946 in Great Bend, Kansas, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. Later, his family settled in Oklahoma. He was a popular high school athlete and graduated from Purcell High School in 1964. While working at Tinker Air Force Base, he was drafted into the Army on the 7th of December 1966, destined for Vietnam. Corange arrived in Vietnam in June of 1967, joining Delta Company, 1st of the 18th Infantry Battalion, part of the 1st Infantry Division, as a light weapons infantryman. On the night of 2 November 1967, during the Battle of Loc Ninh, Private Corange's unit came under an intense enemy ground attack. He immediately delivered effective fire and repelled the initial attack. He then moved to a friendly damaged bunker position, continuing to return fire, carried wounded to an evacuation point, and returned to deliver fires until the enemy withdrew. For his selfless actions that night, he was awarded the Silver Star for gallantry. Then, on 4th of May 1968, as his reconnaissance platoon began receiving enemy fire, he immediately returned fire, and with complete disregard for his own personal safety, he moved into a ditch where he carried several injured companions to a safe location. Observing a wounded soldier in an open field, he led several companions forward to a location near the soldier. There, he stood up and delivered suppressive fires against the enemy so that the soldier could be evacuated. For his leadership and gallantry, Specialist Corange was awarded his 2nd Silver Star. In addition, he was also awarded the Army Commendation Medal for Valor. Specialist 4 Corange returned home in December of 1968, earned a bachelor's degree in business from the University of Central Oklahoma, and later retired from Tinker Air Force Base after 37 years of service. He resides in Purcell, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Specialist Corange.
In the Bible it says, before honor is humility, and I'm humbled for this honor tonight. Now, I spent a year on the ground in Vietnam through quite a few battles and firefights, and I want to thank God that I'm here alive tonight. I know I had a mother praying for me and a lot of other people. And I thank you all for this honor, the privilege of being here tonight. And I say, pray for America and pray for our troops. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Major Thomas Edward Maloney, United States Air Force, deceased. Nominator was Lieutenant Colonel Jared Whittington, U.S. Army. Ambassador in charge is Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Bridges, United States Air Force. Accepting the award is Major Maloney's grandson, Mr. Patrick Maloney. Thomas Edward Maloney was born in Cushing, Oklahoma on 21 March 1923. With high academic achievement, he graduated in 1940 from Cushing High School. After 1 year at Northwest Missouri Teachers College, Maloney enlisted in the Army Air Corps in June of 1941, hoping to earn an appointment to West Point. Maloney was selected for flight training and graduated in July of 1943 as a second lieutenant. His skill in the Lockheed P-38 Lightning landed him in North Africa, assigned to the 27th Fighter Squadron. By 31 May 1944, 21-year-old Second Lieutenant Maloney became an ace, downing his 5th enemy aircraft. He was selected to be the 27th operations officer and coincidentally received an appointment to West Point, believing he was needed to stay to complete his tour. On the day of the invasion of southern France, 15 August 1944, on Maloney's 60th mission, he destroyed 2 more enemy aircraft, now crediting him with 8, the highest in the 27th. For his 64th mission on 19 August near Avignon, France, he successfully destroyed an enemy supply train. However, damage to his P-38 forced a landing in the Mediterranean. He made it to the beach unharmed, but Maloney stepped on a German mine, severely injuring both his legs. After an excruciating 10 days, he was found by the friendly French. On October 1944, he was in McCluskey General Hospital in Temple, Texas, where he took his first steps a year later. Medically retired in 1947, Maloney enrolled at the Oklahoma State University, earning a degree in accounting. He later started the Sabre Drilling Company in Cushing, Oklahoma, becoming a successful businessman and community leader. In addition to being an air ace, Major Maloney received the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Air Medal with 15 oak leaf clusters, Purple Heart, and was inducted into the Oklahoma Aviation Space Hall of Fame in 1992. Maloney passed away in 2008 and now rests in Harrell Cemetery, Cushing, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Maloney's grandson, Mr. Patrick Maloney.
I'm nervous, so I brought remarks. I'll be short. On behalf of the family of Tom, Patty Maloney, the Maloneys, the Curls, the Tullys, thank you so much to the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame and the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation for tonight's event, recognizing all of our honorees, the servicemen who are here, the veterans who are here, and specifically my grandfather, Tom Maloney. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here, not minutes. I'm going to spend a couple of seconds here just talking about the traits that Tom Maloney really represented in my life. I was fortunate enough to grow up in the same town with him. I'm sure these are traits that are going to ring familiar to everyone here and everyone who's had the fortune of growing up around veterans. He was resilient. You hear a story of how he got out of his plane going down, stepping on a landmine. He defined resiliency. He was loyal. After his service, he came back to Oklahoma. He built a business in his hometown. He married his high school sweetheart, graduated from then Oklahoma A&M, and lived in Cushing, where he was a pillar of our community for 60 years. He spent his free time supporting Oklahoma State athletics and his family. But really, he carved out special time to go back and maintain relationships with the 27th Fighter Squadron. Through reunions through the years, he continued to maintain relationships with the active duty members of the 27th Fighter Squadron, people who got to know him as the squadron moved on and flew F-15s and F-22 Raptors. The CO plane even today flies a Raptor with the name Maloney's Pony on it, which just goes to show the amount of time and dedication and attention that he spent to building those relationships. But for us, for my brother and I, Tom Maloney, and my father, Rick Maloney, a naval aviator, taught my brother and I how to be good sons, husbands, and fathers. So thank you so much for recognizing Tom, and thank you for all you do.
Next to be inducted is Senior Master Sergeant William Piazza, United States Air Force. Nominated by Senior Master Sergeant Michael Hodgkin, U.S. Air Force. His ambassador in charge is Sergeant Robert Vanek, United States Air Force. Senior Master Sergeant William Piazza was born on the 18th February 1943 in Schenectady, New York, and raised in Brooklyn before joining the Air Force on the 19th of February 1960. Piazza served over 28 years as a military air policeman and security policeman at Air Force bases worldwide, including Okinawa, Vietnam, Korea, and the Philippines. Stateside, he was stationed in New Hampshire, Texas, Florida, and Oklahoma. Piazza served 3 tours of duty in Vietnam. His first tour was with the 12th Air Police Squadron at Cam Ranh Bay Air Base from January to December of 1966. His third tour, June 1970 to 1971, he was at Phu Cat Air Base and with the 12th Security Police Squadron. His leadership positions included flight line security, security alert teams, and Cobra Flight Sector Supervisor. On Piazza's second tour, which was from July 1967 to 1968, he was with the 3rd Security Police Squadron at Bien Hoa Air Base near Saigon, where he was the non-commissioned officer in charge of Charlie Flight Security Resupply Team. At 3 a.m. on the 31st of January, 1968, a rocket barrage announced the enemy's Tet Offensive. An estimated 1,500 enemy attacked approximately 425 security police and augmentees who were threatening to overrun the critical defense location Bunker Hill 10, which protected the approach to the flight line. As ammunition quickly dwindled, Staff Sergeant Piazza, without hesitation and under fire, drove his vehicle loaded with ammunition and flares to Bunker Hill 10 and joined the fighting. He assumed command when the on-site commander, Captain Reginald Mazie, who was awarded the Air Force Cross, was killed in action. For his gallantry in action, Piazza was awarded the Silver Star and the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award with Combat V device. Upon retirement in 1989, Piazza worked as a Department of Veterans Affairs police officer at the VA Medical Center in Oklahoma City, retiring in August of 1999. One gate at Tinker Air Force Base is named in his honor. Senior Master Sergeant Piazza resides in Del City, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Senior Master Sergeant Pete Piazza.
Get in, Bob.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, especially my family, my fellow defenders that are sitting back there that work for me and I work with, and also the commander of the Air Base Wing on base, the Mission Support Group, and the Security Forces Squadron for being here tonight to help and support me. Thank you.
Next to be inducted is Captain Howard Elmer Rutledge, United States Navy, deceased. His nominator and ambassador in charge is Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Reagan, United States Air Force. Accepting the honor are Captain Rutledge's daughters, Ms. Sandra Rutledge Hamlin and Miss Peggy Rutledge Roth. Captain Rutledge was born on 13 November 1928 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and graduated from Tulsa Webster High School in 1946. He enlisted in the Navy Reserve and attended the University of Tulsa 1946 to 1948. Rutledge began flight training in March of 1948, earning his Naval Aviator wings in September of 1949. He later flew 200 combat missions during the Korean War. Rutledge became executive officer of VF 191 aboard the aircraft carrier USS Boham Richard, CVA 31, and was deployed to Southeast Asia in June of 1965. On his 75th mission, he was forced to eject from his F-8 Crusader over North Vietnam and taken prisoner on 28 November 1965. After spending 2,643 days in captivity, he was released during Operation Homecoming on 12 February 1973. After several assignments in the Pentagon and the Philippines, his last assignment was commanding officer of the Naval ROTC detachment at the University of Oklahoma. It was during Captain Rutledge's imprisonment in North Vietnam that he demonstrated the highest qualities of an American military officer. He was subjected to extreme mental and physical cruelties to obtain military information and confessions for propaganda purposes. Rutledge spent 5 years in solitary confinement, including 2 years in the prison camp called Alcatraz, as the enemy tried to isolate him and 10 other leaders from the other prisoners. His undaunted courage, leadership, and communication skills helped make the hundreds of American prisoners a cohesive unit that was able to effectively resist the enemy. For his actions, Rutledge was awarded 3 Silver Stars, the Distinguished Flying Cross, 6 Bronze Stars for Valor, the Air Medal, 2 Legions of Merit, the Prisoner of War Merit, and 2 Purple Hearts. Captain Rutledge died on 11 June 1984 at the age of 55 and is buried at Memorial Park Cemetery in Tulsa, Oklahoma. His experience as an American POW in Vietnam is memorialized in a book entitled In the Presence of Mine Enemies, 1965 to 1973, A Prisoner of War. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Rutledge's daughters, Ms. Sandra Rutledge Hamlin and Ms. Peggy Rutledge Roth.
Okay, I'm a little short. It's okay. When I was a little girl, my dad said, responsibility is the biggest word in the dictionary. And of course, being my father's daughter, I'd go run and find a dictionary to try to find a bigger one. And I'd come back and he'd say, no, it's still responsibility. I didn't understand that word until I got older. And then I learned it very well. I have had the honor of meeting many of his fellow POWs throughout reunions and so forth. And they always take me aside and they tell me what they remember: courage, integrity, honor, bravery. And the fact that he cared so deeply about his fellow POWs, often standing up when there was one weaker than he was and taking the beating or the isolation. The final one would be country. And that is what he wanted me to learn, the definition of responsibility.
Our dad was Oklahoma proud. He was born in Oklahoma. He started his Navy career in Oklahoma. He finished his Navy career in Oklahoma, and he rests in Oklahoma. Our country, God, family, including his POW brothers, he loved them all. So on behalf of our mother, Phyllis, our brother, John, Sandra, myself, Peggy, our sister, Barb, who couldn't be with us tonight, but is watching from Arizona. Hi, Barb. We thank you, Stephen Reagan, and the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation for this nomination. Dad would be so proud to be included amongst these distinguished nominees and humbled by this recognition. So thank you. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Commander Neil Rowley Sparks, Jr., United States Navy, deceased. He was nominated by Captain Michael LaPaula, United States Army, and Mr. J. David Nunley, deceased. His ambassador in charge is Captain Michael LaPaula, United States Army. Accepting this honor for Commander Sparks is his son, Mr. Andrew Sparks, and daughter, Miss Meredith Sparks Parker. Neil Rowley Sparks was born in Berkeley, California on the 23rd of March in 1935. His family moved to Tulsa in 1939, where he graduated from Will Rogers High School in 1954, then attended Oklahoma A&M University for 3 years, where he participated in the school's Air Force ROTC program. He left school in 1957 to join the Navy and attend the Naval Aviation Cadet Program at Naval Air Station, Pensacola. He earned his Naval Aviator wings in 1959, left the Navy to complete college, then rejoined on active duty in 1964. In 1966, he was assigned to Naval Air Station Ream Field prior to completing his third and fourth tours of duty, supporting operations in South Vietnam. After graduating from the Naval Postgraduate School with a degree in engineering sciences, he completed his fifth tour of duty in Vietnam. His Navy Cross citation reads in part, "For extraordinary heroism in aerial flight on 17 July 1967, Lieutenant Sparks courageously penetrated the coastal defenses of North Vietnam to rescue a downed naval aviator in a heavily defended area 30 miles south of Hanoi. Although the helicopter was hit by intense enemy fire, which disabled the radios, the automatic stabilization equipment, and the airspeed indicator, he continued to skillfully hover for 20 minutes until the survivor was safely hoisted on board. 2.5 hours after penetrating the coastal defense over North Vietnam and having traveled over 200 miles over heavily fortified hostile territory, he brought his crew and the downed aviator home to safety. He subsequently served in the naval headquarters in London, Mayport Naval Air Station, the USS Incheon, the Pentagon in 1979, and the Marine Corps Station at Quantico, Virginia. Commander Sparks retired from the Navy in July of 1986. In addition to his Navy Cross, he received many awards and decorations, including the Bronze Star with V device, the Meritorious Service Medal, 6 Air Medals. He was laid to rest in Arlington National Cemetery. Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Sparks' son, Mr. Andrew Sparks, and daughter, Miss Meredith Sparks Parker.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight. I'd like to thank the Oklahoma Military Heritage Association on behalf of my sister and myself. My father would be incredibly humbled for this award. And to be amongst so many true American heroes is just staggering to me. I don't really have a whole much else to say except thank you so much for your service to our country. Thank you.
At this time, would Major General Douglas Dollar please join us on the stage for our next presentation? Being inducted into our Hall of Fame and awarded the Major General Douglas O. Dollar Distinguished Public Service Award for service benefiting Oklahoma's veterans this year are two individuals. Brigadier General Thomas Mancino, United States Army, and Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney, United States Air Force. We will start with honoree Brigadier General Mancino, United States Army. His nominator was Major General Miles Deering, United States Army, and his ambassador in charge is Colonel Lindy White, United States Army. Brigadier General Thomas Peter Mancino was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma on 2 October 1945. He was a graduate of the Oklahoma Military Academy, University of Tulsa, Oklahoma State University, and the U.S. Army War College. He enlisted in the United States Army in 1966, was commissioned in 1968, and served for 39 years with the Oklahoma National Guard. He commanded the activated 45th Infantry Brigade in Afghanistan, becoming the first Army National Guard general officer to command National Guard troops in a combat zone since the Korean War. Brigadier General Mancino's many military awards and decorations include the Combat Action Badge, the Army Distinguished Service Medal, the Legion of Merit with Oak Leaf Cluster, Bronze Star, and the Army Commendation Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster. He is an honoree in the Oklahoma Officers Candidate School Hall of Fame. Brigadier General Mancino retired in 2004 to pursue serving and honoring veterans of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Among his many civic contributions, Mancino is the leader of the Oklahoma Military History Center, OKMHC, located in Broken Arrow, whose mission is promoting patriotism through the preservation of military history. The OKMHC originated with the private collection of retired Air Force Colonel Robert W. Powell, a World War II glider pilot. The collection was housed in various locations until 2012, when the city of Broken Arrow offered a permanent home for the collection. The city government and volunteers are committed to displaying the original collection with respect and honor. Under Brigadier General Mancino's leadership, imagination, and organization, the OKMHC has expanded significantly to include a wide array of interesting and priceless exhibits. In addition to offering personally guided tours, the OKMHC also has offices where accredited representatives assist veterans with obtaining their veterans benefits. The OKMHC is the center of all military and veterans activities in the Broken Arrow region and is now a new and vibrant chapter under the auspices of the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation. Brigadier General Mancino resides in Broken Arrow. Ladies and gentlemen, General Mancino.
Well, I'm extremely honored to be included in this Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation with all these real heroes. I've got several people I'd like to thank, but the first one would be the wonderful Vietnamese tailor at Ann's Tailor Shop, and able to do magic on this uniform that I hadn't worn in 18 years. Don't laugh, I see some of you guys out there that had a little work too. I want to thank the two people that are on the stage with me, my son Tommy and my son Christopher. I'm equally proud of both of them. Both of them joined the Oklahoma Army National Guard when they were 17. I think it was something like either join or get out of the house, but no, it was a volunteer deal. And Chris served 13 years, and Tommy is the current Adjutant General of the state of Oklahoma, so I'm extremely proud of both of them. I'd like to thank some of the people that attended with me tonight. I've had a wonderful military career. I wouldn't have been able to do it with some of my military friends, and Colonel John Coleman has been my best friend. I met him at a mortar range at Fort Chaffee in about 1970, and we've been friends since, and he was the former Chief of Staff of the Oklahoma Army National Guard. I've got a wonderful family. I have 5 brothers and sisters, all of whom are alive and live in Tulsa, the Broken Arrow area. And they've been wonderful supporters, and they're here with me tonight. I was married for 50 years to, I'm sure she's a saint, because if she isn't a saint, no one was going to be a saint. And she would have been extremely proud of both my sons and myself for this accomplishment. Now, my sister Donna has taken up to be my moral responsibility since then, Donna, so thank you for those efforts. I appreciate it. If you get to Broken Arrow, I encourage you to come by the Military History Center. We exhibit over 2,400 artifacts, one of which is Mike Piazza's certificate for his Silver Star and a picture of him when he was a younger man too, Mike. I see that. So we've got some wonderful exhibits, and it's truly a superb museum. So if you get to Broken Arrow, come by and just say you were here and we'll let you in free. Thank you very much. Lindy White, I would not miss her wife.
Our second honoree for the Major General Dollar Award is Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney, United States Air Force. His nominator is Mr. Luke Sherman, and his ambassador in charge is Colonel Monty Goodman, United States Air Force. Daniel John Rooney was born in Stillwater, Oklahoma on the 18th of December, 1972. He graduated from Stillwater High School and then the University of Kansas in 1995. Rooney's a decorated F-16 fighter pilot and founder of the Folds of Honor, a leading nonprofit organization that provides educational scholarships to the spouses and children of fallen or disabled military service members and first responders. Since its inception in 2007, the foundation has provided nearly 44,000 life-changing scholarships totaling $200 million. Rooney is a USA Today best-selling author whose titles include A Patriot's Calling and Fly into the Wind. He's a highly sought-after motivational speaker who's addressed over 1,000 corporations and groups across America. As a Class A member of the PGA, he, along with his partners, founded 2 nationally ranked golf clubs, the Patriot Golf Club in Owasso, Oklahoma, and the American Dunes Golf Club in Grand Haven, Michigan, in collaboration with Jack Nicklaus. Rooney's been recognized as one of People Magazine's Heroes of the Year, Money Magazine's Hero of the Year, and ABC World News Tonight's Person of the Year. Lieutenant Colonel Rooney flew the F-16 Viper in 3 combat tours in Iraq. He's currently stationed at Headquarters Air Force Recruiting Service, Detachment 1 at Joint Base San Antonio, Randolph, Texas, where he acts as a U.S. Air Force ambassador, inspiring the next generation of service members. Rooney is a 2-time recipient of the Top Gun Award and has received the Air Force Commendation Medal, the Air Medal, the Anti-Terrorism Medal, Combat Readiness Medal, and the Air Expeditionary Medal. For his service and patriotism, he was presented the White House's Presidential Volunteer Service Award by President George W. Bush as well as the Air National Guard's Distinguished Service Medal, the Director's Service Award, and the Ellis Island Medal of Honor. Lieutenant Colonel Rooney resides in Owasso, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Rooney.
So to wrap up, what a wonderful evening. God bless everybody in here for their service. Humbled, not worthy. Thank you, Captain Luke Sherman, for the nomination. My wife Jackie's here, Devin, and Reese didn't want to come up here. She's at table 2. So Reese, thanks for making the trip over this evening. As I listened to the stories this evening, you can't help but feel very undeserving to be a member of the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame. But I think that the common bond of all of us in service, you don't have control of the situation you're placed in, but you hope that you react with integrity and valor and resilience and all the things, the stories that we've seen of these amazing gentlemen this evening. And as I close, I'm just going to share a moment of what I call synchronicity, chance with a purpose. I was called on a mission I was never expecting. I'd gotten back from my second combat tour of duty in Iraq, been back a couple months, and was in Chicago O'Hare. And it was a dark, delayed night, and United Flight 664 was taking me to my other job as a golf professional in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I boarded this plane, and as I was walking on, I noticed a corporal in first class, and I didn't think much of it. I pressed on back to coach. About an hour or so later, about midnight, we touched down in Grand Rapids when the captain came over the PA as we pulled into the gate and informed us that we were carrying the remains of Corporal Brock Buckland on that flight, who'd been killed in Iraq. And that young corporal in first class was Brad Buckland, his identical twin brother, who had brought him the 7,000 miles home. And I speak for the veterans in this room. I can't imagine the combat, and we understand that freedom isn't free. We see the ultimate sacrifice on the battlefield, but I'd never seen this side of war. And that evening, I sat on the right-hand side of the aircraft and I watched the Buckland family on the darkest night of their lives. It was his brothers, his parents, his wife, and his 4-year-old son as Brock's American flag-draped coffin inched down that cargo ramp. And as the father of 5, that sacrifice hit me in a way it never had before. As the ceremony finished up that night, I grabbed my backpack and I stood up, and despite the captain's passionate request, more than half the people had deboarded the plane that evening. Nowhere to go except that blanket of freedom we'll all sleep under, courtesy of Corporal Brock Buckland, many of the inductees here tonight in the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame. And as I walked off that plane, I felt a hand on my shoulder, and I looked back, and the only thing I know for certain at 50 years of age in my life, it was the hand of God. And he chose me for a mission I wasn't looking for, I certainly wasn't prepared for. And I called Jackie, walking off the flight that night, and I said, hey, we got to do something to help this young man, that little boy, Brock's son. And we started Folds of Honor above our garage with no money, no influence, no platform. And for the last 16 years, we've watched God's hand every day humbly walk alongside of us, and people join us in that mission to leave no family behind. And our stats are a little out of date because we just sent the latest class to school, which is just over 9,000 spouses and children who've had someone killed or disabled. Brings our total about 55,000 lives, $240 million out the door. And we're really proud to. I learned this lesson as a fighter pilot, high speed, low drag. 91 cents of every dollar we raise goes directly to fund those scholarships, puts us in the top 1% of nonprofits in this country. And like these other Oklahoma military inductees, I'll end with this, is, man, I am proud to be an Oklahoman. I am proud to serve this country, humbled, not deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, but blessed with this honor. And as I close my remarks, we need more nights like this in our country, and there's a donation card on everyone's table. And please give in proportion to your purse, as our first president, George Washington, said, to make sure that the Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation continues in its mission to honor the sacrifice and bring these great Americans into the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame. God bless everybody, and as always, God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay, well, that was the last one, and many thanks to our announcers, Captain Jimmy Andrews and Major Mike Gonzalez. Thank you very much. It has been a wonderful and stirring evening, made so much more remarkable by the stories of those outstanding honorees. Congratulations again to all of our inductees. And like he said, you know, we have a lot of donors, but we could always use more donations. And we've had all of the scrolling thank yous on the screens here this evening during dinner and before we started. We'd love to have some new names on those lists. So I want to acknowledge the volunteers who have made this evening's event possible and ask that you please hold your applause until all are introduced. And again, our founder and past Oklahoma Military Heritage Foundation president, General Dollar, over there, I think he's still over. We also want to recognize our past presidents, Brigadier General Dana Beatty, deceased, and recently deceased this year, immediate past president, Major General Brad Gamble. And again, Colonel Jerry Shiles is our current president, and he's on live stream watching us. And he'll be back next time. Will all of our current Hall of Fame board members please stand? These are our board members. Thank you. And those ambassadors in charge that were taking care of each of our honorees and their family and friends, please stand. Thank you, thank you. Good job. And last, all of our ambassadors, please stand. All of our ambassadors. You saw us taking photos earlier. Thank you very much. And again, we have our perpetual founders, the sustaining founders, our founders, a lot of different categories for our donors. We appreciate each and every one of you and continue to need donations as we pursue new activities in our 25th year and beyond. I want to extend a special thanks to our jazz combo. I think they've already left. The color guards from the Cherokee and Comanche nations. They were excellent, and our Sobos drummers. I'm going to add, there's a Native American tradition of putting money on the drum. And when our program is all over, feel free, if you feel like participating in that, you can put money on the drum, and they would gladly appreciate that. Our 45th Infantry Division Museum reenactors, they're in and around here. Thank you. Trace Rutledge, our national anthem singer. Thank you. Arlene. We had our princesses from the Comanche Nation, Arlene Skonkin and Mackenzie Sovo. Renee Lawrence did our sketch artists that you watch, well, our sketches of our honorees that you saw on the screens. Thank you to our hotel, the Embassy Suites. Lundmark Productions, who's going to do the video, and they're obviously working on it now, taking videos. New Forums Press. Our live stream was done by Tim Bridges. He put that together. Tracy Reese, our photographer, thank you. And please acknowledge our supporters with a round of applause for making this year and especially this evening possible. Thank you, thank you. Colonel David Wilson, he's going to do our benediction.
Please bow with me one more time. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you. We know you know what's on our heart, and today we've seen what's on your heart. You have empowered these servicemen over the last 100 years or more with your power, with your glory, and to you, that's who the glory belongs. We thank you for how you've empowered them to service our country, our nation, our state, and our families here in Oklahoma. We ask you to continue to watch over our servicemen and women, not only in Oklahoma, but around the nation and around the globe. Continue to fight for what we think of as one of our most cherished possessions and the freedom that you have allowed us. Continue to watch over them as you watch over these wonderful people that are here tonight. Take them home safely, even though the weather's bad. Make sure that they gather again with their families, and knowing full well that where they gather, you're there. Empower us to help those around us for their betterment and for your glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Colonel Wilson. And at this time, we draw your attention to the POW MIA Remembrance Table. And as we get ready, I'm going to let you finish that, Butch.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll, as Kelly said, return our eyes back to the table to my left. As we get ready to close the evening, Miss Hamlin and Miss Roth will extinguish the candle on the table. Let us transfer that flame to our hearts and to always remember. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you. Very special to have the daughters of a POW that grew up with him in captivity. Thank you. Again, we have sign-up sheets in the registration area. And for those who wish to purchase memory books, DVDs, Hall of Fame shirts, or challenge coins, they're out there. And of course, we encourage you to make tax-deductible donations to our Heritage Foundation. Again, we're an all-volunteer 501c3 organization and solely dependent on donations. We have a donation box for the ones that are on the tables, and I see the sign back there by the doors. So it's a big black box, and they're securing it, taking good care of it. Lastly, let me point out the beautiful centerpieces. Please leave them on the tables. We will use them again in the future so that they're not souvenirs. Thank you. Okay, first, when we're done here, our inductee photo will be taken, and then the other honorees, Hall of Fame inductees from the past years will join them. You can go ahead and start coming to the stage the current inductees. And once they're finished, the stage will be available to anybody who wants to take group photos later. As our honorees move to the stage, I thank you again for attending and making this a memorable evening. With that, this concludes our Hall of Fame induction ceremony for 2023. And may God bless our military, our first responders, our great state of Oklahoma, and the United States of America. Good night and safe travels. Thank you.